Champions of the world, Denver Broncos.
It is caught for the win!
Danny Willett has won the Masters.
Jason Day, major champion.
Derrick Henry will win it. Villanova, phenomenal!
Every summer, the nation's top softball sluggers travel the country showcasing their power while they battle for the nationwide conference USSSA championship. After 6 months and 22 events, it's down to the conference championship game. Smash It Sports and Backman for the title. Next on the CBS Sports Network. $9 million participants around the country playing softball, but the very best athletes, they're right here in Kissimmee.
Yeah, we started this weekend with about 120, 125 of the best players in the world. We're down to the final 40. It's an amazing level, and then hopefully a great show will be put on today.
And what a year it has been for Backman Shop. They're the regular season champions, trying to put the icing on the cake and win this tournament title as well. They cruised right through. They defeated Rismondo in the winners bracket final, so they need just one win. Meanwhile, Smash It, they've gotten healthy of late. They're playing really great softball. They'll need to win 2 games, but Smash It, this is a team that very well could take 2 today.
Yeah, great leadership, great veteran leadership, and like you alluded to, they've been down a little bit this year, but it's been because of injuries, not because of their talent level. Everybody's back. They seem to be clicking. It could be real interesting today.
And let's check out the starting lineup today for Smash It Sports, brought to you by Easton. Bryson Baker leads things off. He's at the catcher position, followed by Brian Wegman. Scott Kirby batting third. Travis Clark, he's been the leading hitter in this tournament, hitting .870 and .870 on-base percentage in the cleanup spot, followed by Kyle Pearson at first. Buddy Wolf in right field. Kevin Philby, Mike Umscheid, Westy Gull, Kevin Bazat, and Brad Record for Smash It Sports going up against Andy Vitkat and this Backman team that won the regular season for the first time in Jerry Backman's sponsorship history. But it's the last 2 regular season champions battling against one another here in this championship game, because last year was Smash It Sports as the regular season champions.
Yeah, it's weird not to see the Rismondo team here for so many years dominated. And they lost last night in the winners bracket finals to the Smash It team, and we're looking to crown a new champion here today.
All right, so Bryson Baker is going to lead things off in this championship game.
All right, gentlemen, play ball.
We see a lot of balls put into play. Take a look at the advantage I guess you have defensively as we take a look at our Dudley defense, is that Backman, you get to play with an extra fielder, a middle infielder typically at this level. They bring him into the infield to try to maybe corral some of those ground balls.
Yeah, you got to close the middle down a little bit. You have the right, you can play 4 outfielders, and you will occasionally see us switch out to a 4 outfield positions, but we typically, this level bring the infielder in, and it's actually called the 10 spot, so if you're scoring at home, the middle infielder is still scored as the 10th man, so it's a little bit of a weird on your scoring book, a 10-to-1 throw out.
Brian Wegman, he was the MVP in 2014.
And as you alluded to in the open, this is their kind of their catalyst, and he's been hurt most of the year.
Lifts it out to left field, and Jeremy Yates is there. Bryson Baker will move to left field. That's one of the additions to Backman. They brought Jeremy Yates in, and they've gotten a whole lot better because of what Yates brings to the table. He's the conference MVP this year, co-MVP, along with Andy Purcell after the phenomenal season that he has had for the Backman team.
Yeah, I'd say that was a pretty good free agent pickup on the Backman's part. But they added a few players, and Stephen Lloyd at second base as well. They added 2 of the best defensive players in the entire conference, and I think that's really changed their fortune this year.
Offensive Player of the Year 2 years ago. Scott Kirby at the plate. He can really smash it. 45 home runs on the year.
And Kirby actually had a limited role this year. He had some other things and a couple of injuries, so those numbers are on about a 3/4 season.
down the left field line, and it goes just foul. And because it was on a second strike, you don't get any foul balls, so officially that goes down in the scorebook as a strikeout. You're at home, essentially starting in baseball with a 1-1 count, and officially in conference play, it goes straight up, so everybody knows that a 1-2 count is full. But for the viewers at home, we're going to keep the count at 1-1 to start, just to give you an idea of what it is. So pitching-wise, obviously you don't have as much room to make a mistake, and then hitting-wise, one foul ball, and then you got to put it into play.
Right. We talked to a lot of major league players, the pitchers that see this level of softball, and they've wanted that rule added into their game. They think a foul ball out would be great.
Travis Clark at the plate. He has been the hitter of this tournament. He's hit 12 home runs, driven home 27 runs, trying to drive home another, and it's going to get under the glove of Yates, and Bryson Baker is going to come in to score the first run of this championship for Smash It Sports. As Travis Clark cruises over to third base. Gotta love this effort here by Jeremy Yates.
Yeah, inches away on there from Yates. Of course, the way that Travis is swinging it this weekend, he was a little bit deeper than he probably normally would have been.
One of the additions this year to Smash It Sports, Kyle Pearson.
This is probably the best young power hitter that's come along, maybe ever.
He hits this one on a line out of the park. That's a line drive home run. And it brings home Travis Clark. He has a 3-0 early lead.
He's what we call country strong, Bernie. That's just a big, strong kid, loves the game, works on his game tirelessly. Beautiful swing.
You see a lot of line drive home runs. That's one of the things. If you like the long ball, you're going to really love Nationwide Conference USSSA because of all the power.
Yeah, and this was a big lefty power hitter that Smash had added this year, Buddy Wolf.
One of the biggest things about the conference, it's 11th season for Nationwide Conference USSSA, and we've really seen some young, intriguing players come in and do some really special things, as that one's going to be misplayed by Brian Logan, another one of the youngsters out of the outfield, and Buddy Wolf on his way to third with a triple. Maybe could have been the final out.
Yeah, it should have been.
Inning.
That's a ball Brian Logan. You expect him. He's the one young outfielder out there that's really here for his defense. He brings a little offense to the table, but he can flat go get it, and that's a ball he makes 9.9 out of 10 times. You can see him looking around right now, kind of wondering what just happened.
And the dangerous thing about this game is you give away that extra out in the game of baseball or fast pitch. Maybe it turns into 1 or 2 runs, and the game of slow pitch could turn into 10.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a double for the cycle in this inning. It's Kevin Philby coming to the plate. Got a single, a triple, a home run, and another triple there by Buddy Wolf. And you know, Kevin Philby, he's got some power, but he hits it all the way to the wall. It's hauled in by Neil Hagland, but Kyle Pearson helps smash it out to a 3-0 lead as we head to the bottom of the first. Backman Louisville Sluggers, sponsored by Jerry Backman at the plate. The regular season champions. Here is their Easton starting lineup. It starts with Lee Powers. He was a Men's Major World Series champion a year ago with Resmato. He's followed by Kevin Kennington, Neil Hagland, Jeremy Yates also played on that Resmato team that won the Major World Series. Ryan Harvey, he can really hit it. He's a first-round draft pick in the Major League Baseball draft. We'll enjoy the show he puts on today, followed by Terry Baggs, Orlando Castillo, Stephen Lloyd, Ryan Stovall, Brian Logan, and Andy Vidcat. That's the lineup for Backman Shop today. So go up against Travis Clark. And again, a lot like the MVP this year in Conference USSSA, Andy Purcell. Travis Clark showing that he can pitch extremely well and he can really hit the ball as well.
Yeah, both of them have come so far on the offensive side. And you take so much out of you to be out there.
Ground ball over to Mike Umchide. And picked out by Kyle Pearson, and that's again the advantage of having 5 infielders. Of course, Mike Umscheid right there on the line, but probably your advantage to make sure you hit it the opposite way. Our Dudley defense, Umscheid, Kevin Bazat, Brad Reckert, Scott Kirby, and Kyle Pearson all on the infield.
Yeah, and the one thing about these teams at this level, they play each other so much. You know what someone wants to do, so they're trying to set themselves up to take it away.
Kevin Kennington into the corner, extra bases. He's on his way to second base, his 3rd season with Backman Chop after playing the previous 2 seasons with this laser vision smasher group, so he's very familiar.
Yeah, and Kevin's kind of become the leader on the field. If you spend much time around the Backman team, you can tell he's the leader. Everyone kind of follows. You see Big Ryan Harvey and some guys over there that you maybe think are, but Kevin's a little quieter, but he's clearly the leader of this team when it's going good or when it's going bad. You know, he's always the voice of reason in that dugout.
Brings to the plate Neil Haglund. He was the MVP of the Columbus Bats Major early on. Didn't get enough to leave the yard. Buddy Wolf will track it down, and Kevin Kennington tags and advances over to third. And just noticed Nationwide Conference USSSA, it's a very quick pace of the games, isn't it, Coop?
Yeah, it's one of the good things about it. You know, I think from a television standpoint, and a lot of people that come new to it, they're amazed how fast the game is from not only the pace of it, but the exit velocity of the balls, how the infield, and we see it a lot of on the women's side now. Bernie doing a lot of that. The ladies that are leaving the NPF and leaving college fast pitch, and they come to this game and they're shocked at the speed of the game. It's balls always in play, and you've got to play defense at this level.
Jeremy Yates try to leave the yard, and he will with a home run. That one came off the bat at 103 miles an hour. Just to talk about the exit velocity you talked about, we see it anywhere between over 100 miles an hour to 115 miles an hour coming off the bat.
Yeah, that's just crazy. It's when you think about it, and you know, we talk about you'll see Travis Clark out there, wearing basically a modified Cascade lacrosse helmet to pitch in and shin guards. And if you're standing 50 feet away, you can understand, especially when there's someone like Ryan Harvey stepping in the box, that when you're pitching to him, it feels like he's standing on top of you.
Pitching distance 50 feet, the bases at 75 feet. They play 7 innings in Nationwide Conference USSSA. What we didn't mention, though, is that it's a home run limit as well, as we see Ryan Harvey blasted through the infield for a base hit. These 2 teams, they get 16 home runs. Of course, they're playing on a full regulation Major League Baseball field. This is the spring training home of the Houston Astros, and from what I understand from the Major League Baseball players and the general manager, Jim Duquette, former general manager of the Mets, he talks about this is probably one of the hardest ballparks in all of spring training to hit it out in Florida.
Yeah, everybody talks about that, especially to right field. For whatever reason, it is just quiet and dead over there, and it's a big park, and it plays bigger than it is.
Terry Baggs grounds it, and Brad Reckert has it deflect off his glove, and now Harvey and Baggs are both aboard.
It's actually Bazat over there. Well, that's not something that you normally see again on the rotation. They switched back as Terry was going backside. They were playing him to pull the ball there a little bit. And as we talked about, the field's so big over there, that's not Baggs' normal swing, but take what they'll give you.
Orlando Castillo right here from Orlando, his first season playing with Backman, and that's one of the reasons why they had so much success. Jerry Backman just getting back into the conference after probably about a decade absence of being in the game of slow pitch softball, and slowly but surely he's really built a very good roster.
He's revamped the team, and he had a real controversial move this year. He changed managers in the middle of the year.
Nice grab there. And they'll flip it over to second and retire the sign, but Jeremy Yates leaves the yard, and Backman scores 2. They trail by 1 after 1.
Nationwide Conference USSSA Championship on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Nationwide. On your side. By USSSA. Play the best. Play USSSA. By DeMarini, maker of the world's finest bats. And by Louisville Slugger. Ball go far.
We are back in Central Florida, Osceola County Stadium. It's the start of the second inning. Backman Louisville Slugger, Smash It Sports, battling in this championship game. Mike Umshide leading things off. He's back on this team. That's an important cog for Smash It Sports. And for more on that, checking down on the field with the third member of our team, Olivia Stacy.
Well, Smash It has overcome a lot of injuries, as you guys talked about earlier in the broadcast. And in fact, General Manager Brett Hellman was telling me that they haven't played with their preferred starting lineup since that first tournament that they won in Las Vegas. That was back in April. And he said now they're really happy to have a lot of these guys recovered. Two of their key players are Brian Wegman and Umshide, who you just saw with that incredible play. And he said these guys certainly are looking forward to making up for lost time.
Thanks, Olivia. And obviously, Brett Helmer, it's a team, Smash It. They've been together under a multitude of different names over the year. Kind of the core group, Dan Smith, Laser Vision, the team called, now Smash It Sports. And, you know, you think about a guy like Wegman, it's difficult to win a lot of games without it, just because of what he brings to the table for your team.
Yeah, like I said, we talked about Kevin Kennington be a leader over there. Weggs is kind of the leader, the same thing with the Eastern group. He's the quiet leader. He leads by example on the field, how hard he works at everything. And it's definitely, you can see they struggled missing him. And Umshide's such a super utility guy. You know, he's a gold glove type guy at 6 or 7 positions, and they're hard to come by. So to lose both of those pieces for a majority of the season, it's been a struggle for him.
These two teams did face one another earlier in the tournament. Backman defeating Smash It 37-33. Brad Record at the very bottom of the lineup. But after that point forward, Smash It, they've outscored their opponents 79-32. So they've kind of been on a mission in this tournament. They come in as the number 4 overall seed during the regular season as these teams try to get set for the Men's Major World Series, which will be just a couple of weeks from now. Tons of great teams will be over at Disney competing for that championship at Champion Stadium, including the team from the Military Worlds earning a berth. There's another tier of this conference championship tournament going on as well, trying to get a berth into the Major World Series.
And we found out this morning that Vivid has earned that berth, and that's a tough way to get there. You battle all year long. They came up short. There's one at-large berth that is contended for across town, and they were able to win that this morning.
Line try by Brad Record. And Bazat will advance over to second base. Out number 2 here in the second inning. Think about the summer. It's really, as we talked about at the onset, 6 months of softball, 22 different tournaments and events all around the country. And the thing about the conference is over the 11 years since its inception, it has really grown as far as, you know, tournaments all over the map. A lot of tournaments down the West Coast, some young players really getting involved, as well as Bryson Baker pops this one up. And it's going to be caught by Yates in foul territory. That'll retire the side. I'll talk a little more about the conference when we come back. Bottom of the second inning, Backman coming back to the plate, trailing by 2. Backman Louisville Slugger coming to the plate here in the bottom of the second inning, trailing by 2. They need to win just 1 game here to be conference champions, not only for the regular season, but also for the Men's Major World Series. They'll be the top seed as well. As Stephen Lloyd comes to the plate. Big year for Jerry Backman, his team. Really kind of a wire-to-wire win in the conference. They started right here in April at the Hall of Fame Classic, played extremely well, winning both of those duels. Jerry Backman, he's going to be inducted into the USSSA Hall of Fame in Sanibel Island in November. He's one of the great sponsors in the game of slow pitch softball, as we see Stephen Lloyd draw a walk.
Yeah, very well earned. Jerry loves the game, been a part, like you said, many teams, many years. It's a great honor for him, and look forward to seeing him go in. And with Jerry, I'll look forward to hearing what he has to say that night. He's quite a character on top of everything.
Ryan Stovall at the plate with nobody out here in the bottom of the second. It's really the sponsors that make this game possible for these players. Because you think about the summer, it's not playing at home and then traveling to a tournament here or there. These guys are really literally on the road all 6 months, as this one's going to be lined into left field. And Lloyd is going to hold over at third base, and it is the sponsors and the manufacturers that make it possible.
Yeah, it's very similar. You know, we've had this conversation in the past, Bernie, and a lot of people come up to me and ask me about it. And how does it all work? It's very similar, I think, to NASCAR. You can see Stovall, the great swing there. It's very similar to NASCAR. Without the manufacturers and without the sponsors, this doesn't happen. You know, we do have some good crowds and so forth throughout the summer. You know, unfortunately, this spot's not one of those because the way it's played and the way it's set up. But you know, some of the events do draw well. But the fact is, without the sponsors and the manufacturers, we wouldn't be doing this.
Wow, that one comes off the bat of Brian Logan at 100 miles an hour, and you can barely blink before you make the catch. That's how athletic these guys have to be.
Absolutely. And then this is where your fifth infielder comes in right here, taking that backside hole away. And speaking of sponsors, I got a little text here from the U-Trip office. Addictive, not Vivid, won that berth this morning. So to make sure we give the right props to one of the great sponsors, a Team Addictive out of Florida, battled all the way through and got that berth, the 17th berth to the World Series.
So that ball wasn't even in the air for a full second, only 0.8 of a second before it's snagged. For out number one, this is Andy Vidkat, the pitcher for Backman, giving it a ride, and it's got enough to get out of the yard for a home run.
And as we talked about earlier with Travis Clark, how far his offense has come. Same with Andy Vidkat. A couple years ago, he was a real good up-and-coming pitcher, but he flat couldn't hit, to be honest. And he has really turned himself into a good hitter here. You can see that he squared that up, and that's a ball that was not in his arsenal 2 or 3 years ago.
So back to the top of the lineup, and Lee Powers.
Yeah, and we talk about the conference, how much traveling's grown here. It's also spreading, Bernie. You know, this is the second year that we had a women's conference. The U-Trip had added a women's conference. It was the first full year of it. And the week before, Lily looks like
And a foul.
This is we'll have a full bracket the week before the men's major down there. So we'll have a women's major World Series set up the same way. So it's not just the growth with the teams here, it's spreading, and I think that was the design from day one.
Falls foul, and as we mentioned, you only get one foul ball. You got to straighten it out, so Power is down officially in the book as a strikeout. Route number 2. Kevin Kennington. He's got just 4 hits in this entire tournament. Really an uncharacteristic weekend for him. 4 for 12. Strains it out there, just getting his 5th hit. And he's got a double and a single in this game.
Well, not to be cliche, those are the kind of guys that show up on
Yeah.
the championship days, but that's what he is. He's a pure player, both sides, like we talked about. Their team leader, as good a guy there is in the conference.
This season he was 2nd in the conference with 55 doubles. The defensive MVP at the Dudley. That's one of the stops where they have been playing softball for decades and decades.
Yeah, beautiful Minnesota.
Gil Hagelin takes a strike, and now he'll have to hit this ball into fair territory. Now this pitch is going to have to go somewhere because it's 3-2. It'll either be a walk, a hit, or an out. It's going to be a base hit. Neil Haglund with his first hit. And look, they're sending Kennington. Here's a throw to the plate, not in time. And Backman now up by 2.
Yeah, and Neil Haglund out there is recovering last year. You know, he had a brutal injury to his arm, broke his arm. I had the privilege of coaching him up in an all-star event up in Canada, and a freak accident, he slipped and broke his arm, and it really changed the fortune of Backman down the stretch last year, Bernie, that they didn't have him. And they were a hot team, and it changed when he got hurt, and I know they were real happy to get him back just after the first of the season.
This is Jeremy Yates. Home run his first time up, now trying to truck into second, and he slides in safely with a double. A big inning for Backman. Scoring 5 here in the second. Can you talk about the players that the conference is getting? Players like Ryan Harvey, he was a first-round MLB draft pick.
I think the 6th pick overall by the Cubs, if I remember right.
Yep. Spent a number of years in the Cubs organization.
And you see that a lot. Scott Kirby at second base was in the league or in the minors for many years, and most of them scattered out here.
He had 100 home runs in conference play, and he's just going to get an easy swing and double. He'll score Jeremy Yates. And that's, you know, you think about this game, people say probably all about hitting home runs. It's all about smashing the ball, but you want to try to make sure that you save your home runs for when you have multiple players on base.
Yeah, like here, obviously, we're playing in a big park, and like you talked about with the Astros even telling you how big this park plays. Home run management here doesn't come in as much. You know, it's pretty much what we call free swing and Freddie ball. Go hit them. But when we play at a lot of the parks where it's limited to 16 or 12 home runs, the game is really decided about how you manage those home runs and play defense. Because the worst thing you can do is kick a ball, and all of a sudden it's a 3-run home run. You've given it to him. So, you know, it's definitely a different game. When the home run rules got put in and modified over the years, it changed the game some. But I think it's made it a better game. It's allowed it to become more competitive. It's allowed smaller budget teams to creep up on them, as we've seen. So it's been a good move, Bernie.
Billy Messina is going to be charged with a conference as he goes out. Again, managerially, sometimes it's just picking the right spot to come out and try to slow down the momentum.
Yeah, everybody will say, what are you going to do? You're still throwing an underhand or whatever, but it's just that. Get the guy to think about it a little bit, see if we can overthink it. Sometimes it's just to slow it down, make sure we know what we're doing defensively.
Backman with 6 runs here in the second, and 3 of the 6 have come with 2 outs. Bags out to left, and Wegman comes in and makes the play and retires the side. But a big inning for Backman. They're on top for the first time in the championship, up by 4.
One of the keys to hitting in the stadiums is to get good backspin on the ball. That way we get a little bit extra carry on the way out. The way I do that is I work on hitting the bottom half of the ball and trying to get that extra little bit of spin.
And with a bonet, you can practice making sure you get that extra spin wherever you are. And that's the crazy thing is you think about all that goes into this game. You see these guys hit it a ton. As that ball is going to seal. And Brian Wegman's going to lead it off. But there's an art to hitting the ball as well as these guys do. You're not seeing at the major league level when these guys go to the major league ballparks. They're not hitting it nearly as far as you see the major leagues hitters do.
Yeah, it's all about spin and the technique, and you're trying to get top spin. Then when we talk about home run management, and it is something these guys work at it and work at it and work at it, and it's until you're around it every day and understand how hard some of these guys work at it, it really is kind of hard to wrap your head around.
Here's Scott Kirby.
No.
Miss hit that one. It's going to go foul.
And one of the other things are, until you go up against one of these top pitchers, and we we've talked a lot about that, what it is. You know, go get a Andy Purcell or Andy Bigcack knuckleball and watch how much it runs 2-3 feet, and you're set up on it, and you're sure you've got it covered, and all of a sudden at the last second it dives away from you, and you're going, how can a guy at this level look so bad? The pitching at this level is incredible as well.
We talked about at the beginning, 9 million participants in this game, and you have the very best of the best playing in the conference. And at the major level, there's just a select few, as you see Scott Kirby power that one out of the yard, hitting it .416, and there's a reason why he can hit the ball so well. They really work at their craft, don't they?
And you can say overlap grip, something that, you know, you don't just pick up one day. That's not a grip. Scott spent 10, 11 years in the minors. That's a totally different grip. If we see him hit again, he's overlapped on his hands, and I think Travis probably has a similar overlap grip. You know, it's a different swing. It's a different game. They work very, very hard on it.
Smash it within 2, and the other thing that really impresses me as well about the conference is how good they are defensively. Travis Clark just told us about how he works on his game, and again, that one comes off the bat at 107 miles an hour, and Lee Powers, he only had a half a second to react and make that play.
Yeah. Lee, and we talked about, there's big Lee there. He's what we call royalty. If those of you who have followed the game for a long time, his father and uncle are two of the greatest players that ever lived, and it was a great day for him when he signed his deal with Louisville Slugger. His dad and uncle represented them for better part of 2 decades, both Hall of Fame players and 2 of arguably the greatest 10 or 15 players to ever play the game. So some real good family genes there.
Kyle Pearson. Comes out with a double, and speaking of our Louisville Slugger ball go far, take a look at the home run earlier by Kyle Pearson. This one on a line, comes off the bat, over 115 miles an hour.
And if you look
gets out in a blink of an eye.
Yeah, and if you look at Kyle, he hits with an overlap grip, and he wears work gloves. We tease him about that. If you see him taking them off right there on cue, that was outstanding camera work. He literally hit so much. He went through so many pairs of batting gloves. He went out and bought work gloves. That is what we call him country strong. He works all day long and hits all night long in a cage wherever he can, and he literally does it in work gloves.
Amazing. Right?
Yeah, he's for 24, 25 years old. He's the future. That is the future of power hitters right there. That's the next Brett Helmer and Johnny McCraw, Dirk Androff of the world right there. He's standing on second base.
And that's what's so exciting about the league and the conference before Nationwide Conference USSSA existed. This major top end of slow pitch softball is kind of falling by the wayside, but really over the 11 years, we've continued to see more and more participation in the conference, and more young players leaving college baseball, the minor leagues. You know, they start to get interested, they get hooked, and the next thing you know, they're traveling all summer long with one of these conference teams.
Absolutely. Yeah, and saying it was falling by the wayside is probably you being politically correct and nice about it. It was left for dead. And USSSA stepped up and said, we believe that it's a top-down. We have to have this level survive again. That's what fed when we had bigger numbers playing the game, and they committed to doing this and putting it out there, and it's grown and grown and grown, and you can see it in their tournament numbers. It's grown everywhere. There's our foul out. And like we said, it's proven that it's worked. It's not only, as we were talking about, Bernie, not only have we seen the growth here with this program and the teams from all over the country, but we've seen the growth in the women's game, and now the major mixed program is back, and it's been exciting to see this for the whole 11 years. I've been blessed to be a part of it from day one, and it's been an amazing ride to see us here on CBS when we had 16 teams and we talked about it in Don's conference room. Don Dionatis, the CEO of USSSA, I think I can make this work. To think that, you know, here we'd be sitting on CBS later. It's I don't know if we quite envisioned that at the time, Bernie, that we would be sitting here, but it's, you know, it's got a long ways to go, but I think he's going to get it there.
Mike Umscheid hits it right towards the gap. Kyle Pearson is going to come in to score and make this a one-run game. There's a lot of similarities to this game in baseball as well. You take a look at the 2-out hits, so critical, and you see one there by Mike Umscheid keeping the inning alive.
Yeah, and you'll see, especially in the stadium ball, you'll see situational hitting there. There's Mike Umscheid with a big 2-out hit, but also playing to the bigger field. If we were in a smaller park, he would probably be trying to hit it right up out of the park, but knowing, hey, I'm a lot better base hitter here than I am a power hitter.
Westy Gull has a chance.
Mr. CrossFit, I was on the plane in with him. He was leaving a CrossFit. Spent all last week doing CrossFit to come here and run around the outfield.
This one may hang up enough to give Neil Hagelin a chance. Oh, it's going to get down and smash. It's going to come and snatch the lead right back here in the third inning. They're up by 1, 9-8.
And Westy Gull was a mid-season ad for the Smash at Easton team. They went with their injuries. They were looking for an outfielder and went out and added him in the mid-season and definitely brought him some youth and an athlete. And
we've got so many great defensive players that can dazzle just like this guy right here. I think that's what these managers, the sponsors, they found out when you're building a team how important it is to have people like Kevin Kennington over at first. Makes the snag, makes it look easy. Retires the side, but smash it with 5 on the board. They're back on top, headed to the bottom of the third.
And welcome back to Osceola County Stadium, where Smash It has a 9-8 lead over Backman as we go into the bottom of the third. And you may have noticed that Backman's jerseys each have the number 22 printed on them. It's a tribute to Lauren Hill, the Mount St. Joseph basketball player who passed away from DIPG. It's a rare form of pediatric brain cancer. Her desire to continue to play basketball even as she battled cancer was an inspiration to many across the nation, but especially to this Backman team. Their sponsor, Jerry Backman, is from the same area as Lauren. He told me she grew up just 4 minutes down the road from his house, and he has a close connection to the family. Jerry, along with his entire team, has dedicated themselves to a huge fundraising effort to help find a cure for DIPG. Backman told me Lauren was 1 in a billion, and she never gave up. That's where this team's motto came from and why it's printed on their jerseys.
Special story there, and we told you Jerry Backman, a special year for this squad. They've won the conference championship for the first time in program history. They're trying to win this tournament as well. They'll be the #1 seed of the Men's Major World Series. Jerry Backman's going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, and it's all about, for these sponsors, they give back to this game and they give back to causes because they really care about.
Absolutely, yeah. And you'll see that, and that group over there with Jerry Backman and Scott Sunderland with S&S Landscape and Louisville Slugger, the whole group. Again, none of the sponsors are selling their franchises or getting rich off of this. This is for the love of the game. It's for the love of the players, and a lot of times, like the wonderful story that we were just told there, outside things can influence it. And Jerry's been around for a long time, as long as his sponsorship core over there of Scott and so forth, and great group of people.
Ryan Stovall with a hit after Stephen Lloyd was retired for out #1 here in the bottom of the third.
And you see a lot of that stuff, Bertie. It's amazing how much of it goes on. There's a young man, not really young, coming down with Team Combat to the Major World Series named Dave Hunter. Softball, loves softball, has never been to the USSSA World Series. He was going to hang up there. He was diagnosed with cancer a year ago, right before the World Series, and they made him a deal. He beat it, he could come this year. And so his whole goal every week was to give the updates, and Dave Hunter will be down here coaching with them. So there's a lot that goes on with that, and that's kind of the neat part of this conference, of how close everybody gets. And you talk about the 9 million people out there playing, looking up to these guys, hey, they're swinging bats that have these guys' names on it, but they get to meet them, they get to spend time with them, they get to hit with them. It's a really neat experience.
Probably one of the other real differences is we see 2 outs and Andy Vitsak at the plate here is the fact that at Major League Baseball, you have a chance to watch them. You never have a chance to play against them, but there's some tournaments around the country that you have a chance to take on some of these conference teams.
Absolutely.
You go to Houston, there's a 200-team tournament. You might just get paired up with Backman, Shop, the regular season champions, possibly. As Vicek hits it fair down the line, Castillo is going to score, and they're waving around Ryan Stovall as well.
I think that's for a lot of the people that have come up through this game. Unless you're the young man getting ready to hit Mr. Powers here, who grew up, like we talked about, a family of royalty. That's how all of us. We went to the park, we saw it. I remember the first time I saw some of the names from the Bass, Mike Masinko and Dirk Androff as a young player, just in awe to be in the same park with them and finally get to play against them. They beat us 900-1, but I was still happy to be on the field with them. And it is a unique experience to this level, and it's something I think is why U-Trip saw such a reason to keep it alive and keep it going.
This is Lee Powers. How special is it for him to think about the generations that have played at the major level of slow pitch softball, and the fact that he gets to continue and have an opportunity because this conference exists?
Yeah, I think it's incredible for him, and I know how emotional his dad was and he was when he signed with Louisville, a team that, like I said, a brand that he had been with for so long. And we see the same thing over here in the other dugout. Actually, Billy Messina, the coach of the Easton team, his son's now pitching in the conference for Team Combat, and you see that now. It's passed down, and there's a lot of that. And I know the Powers family especially, because everyone in the game respects them so much. It was a neat experience for all of us to be around it when it happened.
Kevin Kennington, he's 2 for 2, scored twice. And wow. Nice little speed there for Lee Powers, hustling down to second base.
Hunch we're going to see Billy Messina on this. I don't think he's going to be happy with this call.
Kennington gets aboard, and the bases are loaded. This is a tight play.
Yeah, we can see the slotting here. We call it how deep that, knowing how he wants to be a pull hitter, he's got him slotted. Kevin bays that from basically left field. Kevin happy about the hustle that Lely got on him, and
now it's a big spot for Backman. The bases are loaded, up by a run.
Bernie, do we have an opinion if he's safe or out there? I have to coach with these guys later, so I have to leave this opinion to you.
Looked to me like Powers got to the bag in time with a throw from the couple of angles that we saw.
Well, I'll show you what's happening right now. I really do like this. So, Billy went out and made his argument, and Jason, the umpire in the middle there, is going to ask for help. I don't think anyone else can really help him with this, but that's all you can ask for as a coach. Hey, is there someone else here that got a different angle for it? There's 4 of you on the field. You're professionals, and you see Jason saying, hey, I'm willing to go ask for help. As a coach, this is all you can ask for right here.
Umpires in this championship game: Chuck Doc Beckwell behind home plate, Tony Walzak at first, Jason Overlag at second, and Ken Hawk at third. And he does look safe.
Yeah, he does look safer there. I agree with you, but like I said, I'm trying to be politically correct on this because I got to have them like me in a week or two. I mean, they're not going to, but I'm going to try anyway, let's be honest.
Big spot for Neil Haglund.
It's a huge spot. And this is where right now, like if we're 2 weeks later from now in Disney, it's a really big spot because unlike here at Osceola County Stadium, Disney plays very small to right field. I wouldn't be surprised, even with the bases loaded, that Haglund doesn't try to go left center field gap here and say, I'll take the 3 right now, because he has to square it up to get it out of here.
Haglund, he's driven home 11 runs in this tournament. He's hit 3 home runs. And he's going to leave the yard again.
He didn't really care how big it was there, did he?
It's 330 down the line, and he hit it 362.
And that's all on Lee Powers' hustle right there. The big man out of North Carolina getting to second to keep this inning alive. Yeah, he got all that, no doubt about it.
And a little bit of a difference, which is probably good for us, is when they hit home runs, no reason to run around the bases.
Yeah, it was a rule that was put in years ago for really to speed the game up, especially when we were playing open home runs on 300-foot fields. Nobody wanted to watch a bunch of guys run around the bases. So
Jeremy Yates missed it. But the big hit of the inning belonged to Neil Haglund. With 2 outs because of the hustle of Lee Powers, he had a chance, and he cashes in and comes through. 6 in the 3rd, and Backman, they're up by 5 as we head to the 4th. Backman is up by 5 here in the top of the 4th because of our DeMarini difference maker, Neil Haglund. Grand slam home run. Huge hit here. And again, that's one that, you talk about, he spun the ball really well on that hit. It only came off the bat at 97 miles an hour, but because of that spin.
Yeah. Yeah, if he hits us straight in the mouth, he squares it up, doesn't go anywhere near getting out of here.
So smash it to the plate with Brad Record here in the 4th inning. 6 different players for Smash It have driven home at least 1 run in this championship game. They play 7 innings in this championship game for Nationwide Conference USSSA. Brad Record, he hit that ball well as well.
It's another ball he spun real well right there. You can see there almost a golf grip. Overlap 2 fingers.
Back to the top of the lineup, and Bryson Baker. You get 16 home runs. Both teams have only used 3. But again, because this park is so big, you could hit it a long way, and you could hit it well, but it's not going to leave the yard.
No, if we're playing on a 300-foot park, or you're back at home playing league play right now, that's one of those balls that everybody oohs and ahs over because it's out in the parking lot, and it's a long fly ball out here.
410.
And with the cooler temperatures down here after the little tropical storms snuck through on Friday that delayed us a little bit, we saw some balls go up over that batter's eye. That's pretty rare down here, and we definitely had a little cooler temperature on Friday night, which, unlike baseball, with these balls, it actually helps it travel a little bit better.
Brian Wegman. It's good to be back as a part of this Smash It team. And again, this is one of the reasons why they could be the Major World Series champions at the end of the day, because they've finally gotten healthy at the right time.
Yeah, I think it's an exciting World Series to head into. We've had these conversations over the years, burning it, 1-team race or 2-team race, and oh boy, it's going to be the same old thing. I mean, you look at here, we are playing in a stadium. Rosmondo's not part of the finals. Everybody's always picked to win everything, but it's legitimately 4, 5, 6 teams that can do it. And I think the other issue is the teams have gotten so good that no one's going to stomp back to the losers bracket. If you stumble early, I don't see somebody getting back through that bracket to win twice at the end of it.
Scott Kirby, he's left the yard as well. And Smash It putting things together here in the 4th inning. Scott Kirby, second time he's hit a 2-run home run. Could be one of the favorites to win the home run derby with all that he brings to the table. Here's Travis Clark. Told us earlier how he really gets under that ball to spin it.
See if he can put it into practical application here.
Come get it!
Got under that one.
Way under it. Yeah, missed the heck out of that one.
And it's caught with the second out here in the 4th inning. These players, they live for the summer. They live for these moments. And here's the youngster, Kyle Pearson, who's having a huge day. Pearson's 2 for 2. He scored twice, a home run, a double, and he leaves the yard again.
He actually, if you watch where that ball rolls, he just hit that ball onto field 2 here, which is another Major League Baseball sized park for the Houston Astros, during spring training. He just hit that ball on it. You can see one of the maintenance guys out there walking out to pick that ball up. That is a long ways, folks. Nope. One of the nice maintenance young ladies walking out there. I mean, she is literally on another field.
It's the 3rd home run of this inning for Smash It Sports. Again, he gets 16, so you might as well use him. Buddy Wolf sends Logan tracking it down, but Smash It puts it together. They score 4 runs here in the 4th inning as Scott Kirby leaves the yard. It's the 2nd time in back-to-back innings that he's hit a 2-run home run. It's a 14-13 game. It's the championship game of Nationwide Conference USSSA, 14-13. Backman on top here in the bottom of the 4th. And let's check in down with Olivia Stacy, who's with the creator of Nationwide Conference USSSA, the chairman of the board and CEO of USSSA, Don Nitonatis.
Thanks so much, Bernie. And Don, you have told me that you feel the Nationwide Conference USSSA signals a new era in slow pitch softball. How do you feel you've been able to accomplish that?
Well, it's with a lot of the cooperation from the sponsors, and I think back in the days when we were having a hard time getting the upper level to play each weekend, there was a handful of teams at one place and a handful at the other, and it was kind of a dream. Why can't we do this and set up a schedule where I think at the time I guaranteed a few of those big sponsors that we can't stop this. We're going to have at least 12 teams every weekend. Let's try this thing. Let's join this conference, and let's just try to do it right and make it major leagues of softball. And the first year we went to 18 teams. I mean, it was unbelievable, and then it's just grown from there. We're up to 50 some years, and we're around 40 some teams. It's a highest level, so there's the competitiveness in it. I see the game getting younger. A lot of the athletes that are coming through, we have a huge baseball program, and they've been playing since 9, and now these guys get out of school and they're 21, 22, and they want to compete still. They get a chance to come on these major league facilities on TV. You can't beat it. We're going to do some things like this. We've been playing this now. We have our Major World Series at Disney. It's a 46th. So we've been doing this a long time at the upper level. So I think it's going to grow. I think there's a place for this game, and it's a very athletic game. And I think that's by playing on these facilities, it shows the athleticism on these big fields. So I see a future. I see a future now that they can play this game for a long time. So.
You've already seen so much growth since that first year back in 2006, and that expansion continues with a new stadium, new headquarters for USSSA, and the Space Coast Stadium. It is undergoing at least $12 million in renovations, and by the time it's finished, it could be more. How will that impact this conference?
Well, it's going to be huge to bring the finals and bring it back to us. We're struggling right now. I've been doing this for 39 years, and we have to wait and get dates and work, get areas. Obviously, they play baseball here during the spring, and we also have a deal with Disney, and the Braves play there, the Astros play here. So we've really had to have an opportunity to play the game. These guys could have spring training also. We could play a lot of things during. So having a facility of our own, beautiful stadium, 8,000 seats, with all the amenities, I think it's going to take it. And now we're going to probably do a lot of training and a lot of different things that we can do to help the younger guys see what's going on here. So I think it's going to really grow all the sports. We're heavy into youth, and I think the youth are going to grow. And I think that's the basis of our business, is we're going to be around for a long time.
Yeah, starting players at a young age. I know that's one of your goals.
That's it.
Well, thank you so much for the time, Don.
Thank you very much.
Bernie.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Olivia. And you think about Space Coast Stadium, one of the greatest things is it will be an all-turf facility, so you get the likes of a weekend like this. The tropical storm didn't affect things as much as we had worried that they might. But obviously, if you get all turf on all 16 of the fields, it makes it a little easier to make sure that we can get to Championship Sunday.
Absolutely. And they're building a great defensive play there.
Wow, what a grab.
Great play by Kevin Bazat in the hole there. Yeah, it's going to be great. I've been over to the complex a couple of times now, and they're turfing out. Get a replay here of Kevin Bazat with an outstanding play, shows off his arm. They're building even a 6-7-year-old park designed for 6 and 7-year-olds, their own little mini stadium to play travel ball in, and a lot of it's not based around just the conference USSSA. It's going to be for fast pitch. It'll be the home of the NPF team, the USSSA Pride. It's going to be home to so many of the youth. Kevin Bazat with another chance here.
And another big pick over there by Kyle Pearson. It gets out of the inning, and Backman only able to score 1. They're up by 2 as we head to the 5th. And we're glad you're with us on the CBS Sports Network. Hall of Famer Don Cooper, Olivia Stacy, Bernie Gunther. It's the start of the 5th inning. They play 7 innings in this championship game of Nationwide Conference USSSA. Backman, they need just 1 win to be the conference champions. But Smash It holding them to just 1 run in the bottom of the 4th. That's a big deal because you got to assume with the way these guys hit the ball that you're going to score multiple runs at innings. So you hold them to just 1. That's a win for you, right? As you see Philby get a home run.
You'll hear a lot. Get us our 3, get us our 4. I think most of the teams come into these stadium tournaments expecting if we can average 3 or 4, 21 to 28 runs, it gives us a shot, gives them a shot to win. That's what they look for. If you're playing on the 300-foot parks, you'll hear more, hey, let's get 5 or 6 or 7. So, 1's definitely a win.
It's the first hit of this championship for Kevin Philby. Now 8 different players have driven home a run as Mike Umscheid comes to the plate. He's already scored twice. That's how important it is having him back in this game. A lazy fly ball out to left field, and Jeremy Yates is going to take it for out number 1 here in the 5th inning.
Yeah, we talk about what Mike also brings. A very good offensive player, but he's a legitimate shortstop, second baseman, third baseman, and center fielder, left fielder. You just don't find guys like that can go play every position on the field.
Westy Cole. With the 1 out here in the top of the 5th. Smash It Sports. They've hit 6 of their 16 home runs, so they got plenty remaining. Nice little play by Orlando Castillo, but the throw not in time. How about the hustle by Smash It center fielder there? Kennington, his foot came off the bag.
He did it. It got back down, but I think he got back down short of the bag, it looks like. Yeah. I think maybe the umps are 2 for 2 on close calls so far.
That's big because that could have been the second out here in the 5th inning. Smash It would love to get back to their big hitters at the top. They got Kevin Bazat and Brad Record first, hitting 10th and 11th. They flip to second. Get the easy out.
And that's a case there where, Bazat coming out of the left field batter's box. Stephen Lloyd's just going to field it. We're going to get 1. He knows he's not turning 2 on that ball. Wasn't hit hard enough. Just make sure we get 1 and live to fight another day here.
And the other challenge for Smash It Sports is that Backman is the home team, and while it may be important in baseball and fast pitch to be the home team, it seems like that importance quadruples in the game of softball.
Absolutely. Well, and you look at Smash It to stay alive here. They had a couple of, walk-off come from behind wins earlier in the seventh.
Nice grab there by Ryan Stovall to end the inning. Some spectacular defense put on by Backman. Take another look at Stovall, who shuts things down in the top of the fifth. Well, tonight at 7 Eastern, we bring you round 9 of Lucas Oil Racing Pro 4 and Pro Buggy action as the journey to crowning this year's champion of the Off-Road Racing Series continues right here on the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. It's a 15-14 game. Backman is going to lead off the inning. And they're going to get a double. Brian Logan. Think about the grind for these athletes on the weekend. The good news for Backman is because they played and they held true with being in the winner's bracket. This is just their 4th game of this tournament. But on the other side for Smash It, they lost in game 2, 37-33 to Backman. So to get back to this game, they had to defeat Team Combat 18-15. They took down TG Reds Astros 24-9, and then they took down Resmano, the reigning men's major world champions, 37-8. And they still need 2 more wins to win the conference. So that's what I guess you learn. Don't lose early,
Don't
right?
lose early, yeah. And that's what we're talking about, the Major World Series. I think it's going to be so tough. The caliber has become so good to work their way back through, to do it. But it's a grind. I mean, it's a grind, and like we talk about, so many of the young players that come into the game. Chance for a double play ball here.
And at second, and it just cannot get it out of the glove, and Lee Powers gets over to the bag at first.
See a little frustration from Scott Kirby. Knows there's a ball. He's got to turn a double play on that ball. But it is a grind, Bernie. We'll see that. You'll see sometimes you get in the losers bracket. You talked about the big tournaments, a Houston or a Smoky. To work your way back through it, you may have to play 7 games or 8 games in a day, and then try to get out of bed on Sunday morning and do it again. It's a grind on these guys.
Kevin Kennington, a 3-run day. Doubled and scored in the first, singled and scored in the second. Reach on a fielder's choice and scored, and he hits a home run there that carried 375 feet. Came off the bat at 108 miles an hour.
And we talked about he was struggling coming in, but it's Championship Sunday, and this is what Kevin Kennington does on Championship Sunday. And like I said, the Backman team went through a bit of a change this year. And a lot of people were questioning mid-season. They were still doing, they were very well. They were leading. Neil Haglund getting up out of here again. And they made a managerial change. They replaced longtime Hall of Fame manager Larry Cartuccio, one of the most respected managers that have ever played, been part of this game, multiple world titles. And they turned the whole group over to a first-year manager in Dow Beggs, a Hall of Fame player. But as we've seen in many sports, just because you were a great player doesn't always make you a great coach. And it's been interesting to watch this team go. And you have to give a little bit of credit to Jerry Backman for being willing to make a move like that. I sure don't think it was any kind of indictment of Larry Q's ability to coach, because he's a Hall of Fame coach for a reason. But the guy that's putting the money in decided to make a change, and right now he looks like he's pretty brilliant.
Good eye there by Jeremy Yates. He last night was awarded the co-MVP of this year's conference season, along with Andy Purcell. Moved over from Resmando over to this Backman team, and one of the reasons why I tournament a little bit quicker is because they celebrate what a great year it was. All these great players, Lee Powers, Jeremy Yates, getting these awards last night, as well as all the players in the conference after what was a spectacular year. Jeremy Yates, Andy Purcell, both those two players named MVP. The defensive MVP, Luis Ramia from Resmando. Jason Branch was the offensive MVP. Home run champion, Greg Cannell. The Triple Crown winner once again.
Once again, it's amazing. Saw big Ryan Harvey get up out of the yard here again on a ball that he absolutely missed. That tells you how big he is. He went down and got a ball, and he missed it right up out of this stadium. No, it's like I said, that's why I think a lot of people, because of the power they have right here, here we see a pinch hitter coming in right now, Reggie Schulte, who has endless power. I think this is why a lot of people are picking, you're seeing a lot of people pick, nice swing. We're seeing a lot of people pick Backman to win the World Series because of the power and what they've had going on. And like I said, I think for Jerry, a year that he goes in the Hall of Fame, it'd be a neat thing to happen. And I think there's a lot of things have gone right for them. The Lauryn Hill story is a neat story. And also, to me, a little bit of even for Larry Q, who, he built this roster, even though it was turned over to someone. There's been so many people involved in something like this that I think a lot of people around the sport right now, if their team can't win it, there's kind of a sentimental thing here that this would be a year that maybe quietly you root for these guys, you just don't say it out loud.
Good news for Smash It, as we talked about, they've gotten healthy at the right time. Right now, they're trailing 21-14, and the tricky thing, though, is there's just 2 innings remaining, so they're down to their final 6 outs. And with the fact that Backman is the home team, differential right now 7 runs, Backman's ahead. You don't want that number to creep too much farther away if you're going to have a chance of coming back.
And we do play a run rule here in the conference. So, it's 15 after 5. So, it seems like a long ways away right now, but, we've done many of these games, Bernie, where it's a 14-15 game and 20 minutes later the game's over.
Just an out here in the 5th inning as Orlando Castillo comes to the plate. He singled his last 2 times up. Did not get enough. This one carries all the way to the warning track. Out number 2.
And this is where that double play that, I think if you ask Scott Kirby, he'll tell you he needs to turn that, can come back to haunt you. Let's see how much it costs him. It's cost him 1 extra run right now, but let's see what Stephen Lloyd does here.
One of the rare players on Backman's side that hasn't gotten a hit in this championship game. Gonna draw a walk.
And that brings us to Ryan Sowell. I think this is one of the most interesting stories in the conference. He got picked up last year for the Major World Series by Team Combat, played in one, came right out of minor league ball. He's actually the nephew of manager Dal Beggs. Didn't go back and went ahead and stayed and played softball. And for a guy to come out 1 year out and to be the starting shortstop on the #1 ranked team in the country, I think is amazing. We don't see that transition this fast very often.
He hits this one well to the gap, and it's off the wall. And Stovall over to third. And I think that's maybe the misconception. You think about this softball, it comes underhanded. You're saying, hey, if I can hit a fastball that comes 90 miles an hour, 95 miles an hour, 99 miles an hour, I can crush this softball. But it's not as easy as it looks.
It's amazing. Ryan Harvey, like we've talked about, the 6th overall pick in the draft. Casey Rogowski, who's been in the conference now for a few years, spent 11 years with the White Sox. They'll tell you how amazingly frustrating it is because it should be easy, and it's very, very hard.
Play made to retire the side, but a huge inning for Backman. Well, coming up today at 2 Eastern, the world's best professional female bowlers take the stage for a chance to take home the crown at the PWBA Tour Championship right here in the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Final 2 innings of Nationwide Conference USSSA, and if you love offense, sometimes you see even more than we've seen today. 23-14, 8 scored by Backman. They are led today by Neil Hagelin and Andy Vitsak, who combined have 12 runs batted in this championship game.
Wow. Here's the top of the order for the Easton squad, and this is where they got to go. They can't. They're running out of innings, running out of outs, but you're at the top of the order. This is their shot.
That one gets down right in front of Jeremy Yates, and talked about there is so much power, so much experience at the top of this smash it lineup.
Yeah, Bryson Baker for many years, we've called him the pound for pound guy. He hit as far as anyone played. When he was a little younger, he was kind of the Mike Umscheid before Mike Umscheid. He played every position on the field, center fielder, shortstop.
And for a while, he was the magic card.
Whatever
team he went with won the Major World Series.
Good luck charm. I think 8 or 9 years in a row he won it. Many of those years with Rosmondo, but he left twice, and both those times the teams he went to won it, and he's been the lucky charm for many times.
Wegman blasts that one through the infield, and the first two get aboard. And this is the spot you want to be in as the biggest hitter of the day. Scott Kirby coming to the plate for a smash it.
And I think we've talked a lot about the injuries they have, but Scott Kirby just being gone for a while, I think his addition back, especially where we're playing stadium ball, I think we're going to see a couple of what Mr. Kirby brings here. He may be the biggest add back, is that he wasn't hurt, just had some conflicts, had some things going on. And now to add him back where all he has to worry about is seeing how far he can hit it, he may end up being the difference maker for them.
Last two at-bats are worth legit stat. 2 home runs. He's got a chance to get a 3-run home run here in the 6th inning. He's the offensive MVP in 2013.
Getting ready to try to square something up here with his new Easton Flex he's got in his hands. One of the other things we noticed this weekend is, great play by Stovall.
That him played perfectly, and they are able to turn 2. That's a huge out getting Scott Kirby there. They will definitely trade a run for 2 outs.
And that's the ball we saw in the top of the inning that Smash It didn't get. A similar ball like that, they didn't turn the double play, and we saw what it did to him here. Again, Mr. Stovall, who, the other thing we thought was interesting about his transition from minor league baseball, he was a left fielder. And from what we understand, an outstanding defensive left fielder in the minors. And he shows up here, and I think it shocked everybody that not only was he here already, but he was the shortstop.
Here's the pitcher, Travis Clark, who hit almost 900 as an on-base percentage this weekend. That's what he showed us earlier, the Bonnet play anywhere moment. You got to learn to spin it, and he spun it out of the park here.
How big was that double play ball right now? See it here, sitting back. That's perfect. Bottom it, spun it right out of here.
And would that correlate the same technique to baseball and fast pitchers? That's something that's really
completely different swings. I mean, if you look at these swings, we'll talk about it. It's more of almost a golf swing upright than it is a baseball swing. That's why you see so many of the baseball guys. I mean, Kyle Pearson literally is making this game look easy right now. He is a freak, folks. And one of the nicest, and I mean this is one of the nicest kids, Bernie. I don't know how much time you got to spend around him. He is literally just laughing and enjoying every minute. Can't believe he gets to go do this. His sister is an amazing player. She actually coaches at a D1 level. Great player as well. He absolutely is a kid in a candy store every single day. But talk about the swing, it's really more of your golf swing upright than it is a conventional baseball swing. It's really kind of backwards. It's keep all your weight back, then throw it forward. You're generating the velocity. You've got a pitch coming in at 9, 10, 12, 15 miles an hour, not like you talked about 94, 95. So it's really a big transition for these guys, and that's when you see a guy like Ryan Stovall do it so quick, kind of amazes all of us that have watched it happen.
Buddy Wolf, after that big double play, turned on the infield. Clark with a solo shot. Kyle Pearson with a solo home run. And Buddy Wolf, he gets it through the infield past a diving Stephen Lloyd. They really could use a big 2-out rally here. They trail by 6 down to their final 4 outs of this championship. And of course, Backman, they still have 2 more trips to the plate as a team. We've really enjoyed getting to see Kevin Philby and how far he can hit it over the years.
Yeah. his game's changed a lot. He came up as a young pitcher out of the Midwest, and he was a good hitter, and then he just went to work and turned himself into a power hitter. We were talking the other night, and he said a guy like the guy that hits ahead of him, Kyle Pearson's the reason he didn't want to pitch anymore. He said kids started coming out of the woodwork to hit like that, and he said, I'm just going to go to be a hitter.
Boyd stays with it, makes the throw, but Philby beats the throw down the line. Good hustle there by Kevin Philby.
Let's see what we got here. Yeah, if we had replay challenge right now, I think Mr. Beggs would win this challenge right now.
They have not quite evolved Nationwide Conference USSSA to getting a command center.
But we have to give him credit too. Here we go. I mean, this is a bang play. He's clearly got him there. But I mean, let's look at what these umps have done today. Though we've had 3 just absolutely crazy quick plays. That one's a little bit odd because it was bobbled, and they've been right on top of 2 of these. I think this is one here that I think he clearly missed a little bit. And Tony's one of the top. And again, here we saw earlier, he's going to ask for help. I'm not sure Doc Chuck Beckwell can give him any help on this from the angle, but maybe.
Yeah, because I think our best angle was from center field.
Center field, right.
And obviously this is not the perspective. Doc Beckwell is on the complete opposite side.
I'm not sure that Jason, who he hasn't asked to come in, may not have had a better view of that from the backside at second base. But again, I think Jason, if he had an angle, would probably walk in. They just want to get the call right. And then they definitely, it's not about any ego here. It's about getting the call right.
So they're going to stick with safe. It'll be part of the evolution, though, of the conference over the years.
Yep. And you can see Dow right there. Just come on, make a play now. It's no big deal. I tried.
But Smash had a chance to get within 3 potentially now.
Yep. Well, again, not to lark on, because Scott Kirby is one of the great players of all time. That double play right now always seems to be at the worst time, and they'd love to have one extra out to play with right now.
Mike Umscheid at the plate with 2 on. Smash it trailing by 6, but in this game of softball, 6-run lead can dissipate in the blink of an eye. On a line to left and caught by Jeremy Yates. Scott Kirby doubled up. This is a huge out by Backman. Chop on a reason why they're carrying a 6-run advantage into the bottom of the 6th.
Welcome back to Osceola County Stadium, where Backman has a 23-17 lead. And this conference has experienced a lot of growth since its inception back in 2006. They're celebrating their 11th season of play. And speaking with CEO of USSSA, Don DiDonatis, earlier in this broadcast, and even before this game, he told me what he attributes that growth to is bringing in younger, more competitive athletes, many of who have professional baseball experience. That includes Backman catcher Ryan Harvey, who has 10 years of experience in professional baseball. And you take a look at the numbers and you can see the growth. In the first year, there were only 18 teams. Currently, there are 40 teams representing 26 different states and 22 events per year.
Thank you, Olivia. And probably one of the biggest things that you're on the West Coast side up in the Seattle area, and I know that that's one of the things that they really like is there's a lot more conference events that have been played now out on the West Coast. So you guys get some really good crowds up in Seattle as well.
Yeah, Seattle's a great spot out there, and you know, the Smoky Mountain Classic in Maryville, Tennessee, so they're all over the place. And what we're seeing in the parks fill up now, what I like seeing out there, like we've talked about, is that with the conference events, now there's a women's conference event, and you have the park full. We have the kids out there watching it. So to me, it's great to see the parks full like that and watching it. As one of the producers were telling you earlier, you know, he was doing one of the video game conventions, and the stadium, the place is packed with kids watching someone play a video game. It's a lot more exciting for me to see a park packed with kids watching people, do a sport, that's actively outside.
Lee Powers, that's his first home run. Makes it 24-17. That's the one thing about, Don DiDonatis talked about. He gets a group of people together and he says, hey guys, we want to do this right. And that's one of the big reasons why USSSA reinvested into this game. As you see a home run there by Kevin Kennington. It went off the bat at 113 miles an hour.
I think he's over his 5 for whatever it was coming into the day there, Bernie.
I'd say.
See that overlap golf grip? He does not cheat himself.
Nope, no reason to run. You can
Nope.
go back.
If the folks at home were curious, he was not trying to hit a single there.
But obviously, you come out, you convince these top players, you convince, probably most importantly, obviously, the sponsors that you're going to do something right. And you see, as Olivia told you, what it's become, double the participation in teams. Because there's a bunch of different World Series that we're going to see over the course of this month that are played down in Central Florida, all the way from the major level, all the way down to E, men's and women's.
Yep. And it's great because you see that, and it's a great venue for the event to happen in. You have all the teams there watching, and they come into the stadium to see the men's major World Series, to watch the home run derby. We see the same thing with the women's major World Series. Now all those teams come in to see it, and it gives them something to strive to get up to. It gives those players, hey, there is a reason to do this. And again, I love seeing the kids that are in the stadium watching it, or the 16, 17-year-olds that are watching it, and saying, hey, there is something here to to do afterwards. And it's heading in the right direction. We got a long ways to go, but I think in the short period of time, it's moved the needle a lot. But I think there's a lot of exciting times coming.
But of course, USSSA, it started as a slow pitch softball association. Don DiDonatis, when he became the CEO, one of the things is he really turned this into a multi-sport. And you think about, they got involved in baseball, and some of these young players, they grow up playing USSSA baseball and say, hey, there's USSSA softball, which is it's probably a different mentality because for the older generations, USSSA was always about softball.
Right. Yeah, they actually rebranded the company. It came out as United States Slow Pitch Softball Association, and it's now United States Specialty Sports Association. A lot of people do know, but some don't. They taekwondo, basketball, lacrosse, soccer. The building's grown, the platform has grown. It is a multi-sport, and that's what I think is great about bringing it to the new Vero Beach complex, where great backhand there on a ball that Harvey absolutely crushed.
And a nice pick there by Kyle Pearson. He's put on a clinic over there at first base, hasn't he?
He has, and that's one part of his game that's involved. Like I said, he was just kind of a hitter. He came up as a third baseman, but you could see, maybe not the footwork, but he has really worked hard on that, and I think he's young enough that he's probably going to end up back on the other side before long, because he does have a skill set.
26-17. Terry Baggs at the plate.
Big Reggie Schulte's in.
Excuse me, Schulte hitting for Baggs here. And he smokes this one. And Kirby deflected off his glove, and they almost came back up and made the play over at first. Another great job of staying with it.
That is absolute great hustle all the way around on all parts. This is a ball that takes kind of a strange hop, flips it over, the record's ready. Good call. Not sure I want to see my player do that this late in the season. That's how many times we see a lose a thumb or a wrist, and I think Reggie was probably safe if he just ran straight through the bag.
Officially, they're going to score it as an error. Both teams with 3 errors apiece in this championship. But again, you think about how many times the ball is batted into play.
Yeah, and how clean it is, and how fast. Like you've been given some, with the flight scope data that we have at our disposal. we're getting 98 to 105, 110, 102 mile an hour. Like I said, the defense is so key. And I think many of the folks that with CBS that have been here with us for a couple of years now watching this, it's one of the things that they've been amazed with. With all the sports they do, and I don't think many of them thought that when they came over, the defense was part of this.
Yeah, Flight Scope helping gather the exit speed, the launch angle, the carry distance of all these players. Something that they've been really intrigued about during the course of the weekend is Orlando Castillo's at the plate. Got into that one. Launch angle of 43 degrees, and that's the reason why you see a pop fly ball that retires aside, smash it. They're down to their final 3 outs, and they need 10 to keep alive.
Yeah, like when we do all the testing, we do the USA testing. They'll check the lead that we have, but I'll be walking off the field, and the last 5 swings, I'll tell you what they will.
As opposed to, you see how fast this is. I was like, I need to know within 3 seconds what it is.
Yeah, I bet you on the track now, it's probably more on the lines of 12 to 15.
You got LaHare for power.
It's been the Neil Hagland and Andy Vitsak show. Combined, they have 12 runs batted in this championship game, and they have smashed it down to their final 3 outs as they look to celebrate as conference champions. Their summer, it began here playing softball in April. They won, not one, but both of the dual tournaments.
And that was something we should probably talk about. It was an interesting way to go. We for the first time ever, we missed Rismondo in that tournament because they lost their longtime manager, Frank Webb, who the conference award, Manager of the Year award last night for the first time was presented by Mrs. Webb as the Frank Webb Award. He lost his battle with cancer, and the Rismondo team chose to take that weekend off and shut it down and spent the entire weekend with the Webb family and the Rismondo family celebrating. I think it was a celebration of Frank Webb's life, and it's been a loss. It's strange to see that team in this park without Mr. Webb in it, and one of the most respected gentlemen to come through, and it was great to see the award handed out last night to Jason Kendrick, but we definitely miss Frank Webb.
Get to the gap, smash it. Again, needs to score 10 runs to stay alive. It's a Backman team that comes in. We told you they won both events of the Hall of Fame duel. They won the Columbus Bat Major. They won the Dudley. They won the Cincinnati Major. They did very well at the Smoky as well. It's a smash it team. They started out the right way. The Sin City Classic, the very first conference tournament they won, and then after that, the injury bug really hit the smash it team.
Yep.
The smash it team.
They played real well in Vegas, and like you said, the level's gotten so good. You can't overcome missing 2-3 players anymore. And it used to be the top 3 or 4 teams they could survive, but the level has closed down so much, Bernie. So many of these young teams are coming. No one's afraid to play them anymore.
Smash it. They scored 1 of the 10 they needed to extend this game.
So what is your pick for the Major World Series?
Right now, it looks like Backman obviously is going to come in with a lot of momentum.
Yeah.
The momentum, it looks like the last really couple of weeks belong to Rismondo. As he mentioned, playing this year, dedicating the season to Frank Webb. But you can't discount the Smash It team as well, as we're back to their top of the lineup.
No, like I said, I think there's 4 or 5. I think there's 4 or 5 teams trying to find the wall there. It's going to come a little short.
It's a big gap. They will trade the out for a run all day long here because they have certainly plenty of pad entering this inning. Second run scored by Smash It on the fly out. And because they only count on base percentage, no sacrifice fly in slow pitch softball.
Yeah, and I think one of the things we've talked about is the power. I think the Backman team has so much power top to bottom playing in a stadium. When we get to the Men's Major World Series, it's open home runs. There is no home run limits. It's all the home runs you can hit. I think that's kind of been why they've been kind of picked as a favorite going into it. And we were having this conversation. Obviously, all the players in the dinner last night talking about, everybody's got to pick here. Who, you always want to pick your own team, but if you can't, who it is. And I think Wags spun it okay, but I think he's going to come up short. Maybe not. He spun that real well. We talked
gets out.
And I think I really do think it's a shop. It's hard to pick against Rismondo and Don DiDonatis Jr. at shortstop and Andy Purcell on the mound. We can see here, this is a perfect example of spinning it right out the bottom. He thinks he missed that. He's kind of looking at it, not sure. He thinks he missed it. You can see it, spun it right out of here. But I do think Backman with their power could be a handful in that stadium. And I'm obviously looking forward to the week before to the Women's Major World Series and the same bracket setup. And
it's going to be a spectacular week. But a big weekend here for Backman. They're trying to close it out 2 outs away from being champions, raising the trophy as the conference champions and the regular season champions. This one kind of hit to no man's land. Orlando Castillo gives way, and Ryan Stovall.
There's that left field.
Comfortable out of
yeah,
left
there's
field,
that
right?
left field experience from the minor leagues coming into play right there. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to being at Disney. I'm looking forward to the whole week. I think my goddaughter promised me that Aubrey, that the Derby girls were going to win the Women's Major World Series, and then she's promised me that Shop is going to win it. I don't know why she's picked them, but that's her pick, and so it's exciting. It'll be a great week down there. I think there's 600 teams, Bernie, in the park over those 3 weeks.
It's going to be spectacular, right?
Yeah.
Travis Clark, as Smash It is down to their final out. Popped up. Called for. And, just
great effort.
Out of the reach.
We can see Brian LaHare came in to play defense there, and it almost made Dal Beggs look real smart. He came in for Powers, they went their defensive third baseman to replace their offensive third baseman. And Mr. LaHare did everything he could to catch that ball.
Now Clark has got to hit this one fair. They're down to their final strike. And Travis Clark hits this ball a ton. It'll leave the yard, and they have halved the number that they needed to get at the beginning of the inning. They have scored 5 now. Kyle Pearson, a 4-for-4 day.
I'm just excited we get to see him hit again.
Base it out to left field. They needed 10 runs at the beginning of the inning just to force the bottom of the 7th inning. They've got 5 in here.
The mics may have picked up. You've heard the dugout over there saying just make them hit. What they're talking about is obviously like you talked about. Let's just make Backman have to go back out and hit one more time. That's the goal right now. Tie a lead, whatever. Let's just find a way to make them. You hear them down there. Make them hit. Make them hit. And they're talking about just forcing a bottom of the 7th here.
Called a strike. So Buddy Wolf has got to hit the next pitch in the zone in fair territory.
Ooh. Tough take right there.
This one, does it carry enough? No, it's going to be caught. And Backman They're the conference champions, a 27-22 final. Not only do they win the regular season, but they win the USSSA Conference Championship as well.
Yeah, it's a great run, and like I said, it sets them up, and what it's showing right now is that everybody thought power might carry these guys at the end of the year. We saw their power top at the bottom of the lineup, and let's see if it carries through 3 weeks from now.
What a win, what a tournament. Kyle Pearson, first match it, he did his best. A remarkable performance, but the day belonged to Kevin Kennington and Backman, Louisville Slugger. They defeat Smash It Sports 27-22. We will talk to the winners when we come back. Backman, Louisville Slugger, they've done it, the regular season champions, and they're the conference tournament champions as well. Olivia Stacy is down with the co-MVP of the regular season, Jeremy Yates.
That's right, and Jeremy, your team was able to notch 27 runs in this one. They have been consistent throughout the entire season, and you know better than anyone that the season is a grind. But your team's motto is that they don't believe in moral victories. How important was it to win this one today?
It was a big win, especially going into the World Series. It was a team effort, though.
You had nice situational hitting with a lot of power at the plate. What impressed you the most about your team's efforts?
Just staying together the whole time, never gave up on each other.
You've had a lot of come-from-behind wins this season. How nice was it that today wasn't one of those days? You didn't have to come from behind.
It was good, actually. Helped us out a lot, saved a little energy.
Well, thanks so much for the time. Congratulations. Enjoy this win with your team.
Thank you.
Jeremy Yates, he speaks with his bat.
He does. He's a great kid. You can see that a little uncomfortable there, not used to it. But what a great young man, great father. Got to spend a lot of time with him. Real excited for him to get that MVP last night.
Jerry Backman, he's going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame in Sanibel Island in November, and he is going to have a conference championship trophy to go along with the regular season title. A lot of hardware going to Jerry Backman and this Backman team. Another huge victory for them as they've won another conference championship.
Yeah, well, again, great sponsor, the whole sponsorship group over there, S&S and Jerry. Congratulations to them. And I know what he wants, though, lies a couple of weeks from now. He'd trade it all for that victory down in Champion Stadium.
You take a look at the Men's Major World Series that'll be coming your way, but the day today belonged to Backman, Louisville Slugger. They defeat Smash It Sports 27-22. A fabulous showing in the Nationwide Conference USSSA. For Don Cooper, Olivia Stacy, and our entire crew, I'm Bernie Gunther. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. We now send you to World Surf League.
Yeah, this side we're going this. Okay. Lefty. Slide down. If I gotta get in the front, I'll get in the front. Let me go down. Let the little man get. Where we going? Let the little. Well, I thought I could get up the back one time. This side like the. Man, we ain't done this before. We're still getting used to it, but we like it. I'm sure hopeful.